an audio-visual radio experience that you can count on anytime, any day. And yes, we have a representative of the small-scale women farmers organization in Nigeria. It's called SWOFON. And she's here to talk to us about, what their project is all about and what they stand for, as well as the challenges of smallholder women farmers in the country, as well as how many women have been trained in farming matters, and of course what could be the desire from the government, of course, what does SWOFON indeed desire from the government, in allowing for small-scale female or women farmers, to soar in a time like this. And we have our guest in the studio, who's in the person of Mrs. Hajara Ramson. Good morning and welcome to the Prog Show this morning.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here.
That's right.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, the pleasure is ours. I see. I can hear it. You can hear it from our voice. She is having this flair.
Oh, yes.
It feels there's this
Absolutely.
flair, and it comes with your attire too.
Thank you.
And whoever sees you would say, wait though. Is this how farmers look like? There's this picture of farmers in our head before.
Okay, we're trying to change the narrative. The narrative has to be changed.
The narrative has to be changed.
Before now it looks like you have to be in the rural area. You have to look tattered, torn clothes, dirty, rusty, and all of that. But the narrative is changing.
So what is changing it exactly? Is it technology or what?
We are beginning to educate people to not look at it as a poor man's kind of job. It's only in Nigeria that we look at farming like a poor man's job. No, the rich people in very developed countries are farmers.
Wow.
So we need to change that narrative. So we're beginning to see how we can co-opt young people into farming. They need to understand that it's not about simply because I'm in the rural area or simply because I'm poor or I don't have means, so farming is it. No, we're changing the narrative. It's a very lucrative business.
All right, talk about lucrative business now. The Small Scale Women Farmers Organization in Nigeria, SMOFON, is a non-governmental organization that aims to improve the lives of small-scale women farmers in Nigeria. Now, SWOFON was established to address the challenges faced by women farmers, including limited access to credit, markets, and technology. Let's just drive into it. Is that what SWOFON is all about?
Oh, yes. SWOFON is a non-governmental organization that works together. It's a coalition, basically, of smallholder women farmers coming together to have a voice, to be able to demand for their needs and to be able to access that which is due them. So over the years, there's been a lot of talk about smallholder women farmers not getting what they desire. We all know there's a study that was conducted where it was said that 70 to 80% of food that is consumed in Nigeria is done by smallholder women farmers, yet their needs are not being met. Their productivity is affected, their livelihoods are affected. So we came together as a coalition to ensure that everything we need from government and to ensure that we're food secured as a nation, we came together to ensure that that happens.
All right, so what is this project about? Because Nigerians will want to know what this is about.
Okay, so this is one of the projects we're working on. It's called the SPARK project. And the SPARK project is Strategic Partnership for Agroecology and Climate Justice in Nigeria. It started in the year 2023, where we're working with smallholder women farmers and we're basically training them on agroecology. What is agroecology? In simple terms, it's just organic ways of farming. So over the years, we've used a lot of chemicals on our farms. Climate change has come and so many things have come. The lands have been degraded and so many things have happened to the land. And we're not able to yield as much as we ought to yield. And so agroecology is the organic ways of farming. We're going back to those days our forefathers used to farm, where we use cow dung,
manure,
all of the years, and all those things.
I get that.
So we're going back to regenerate the land and farm again, and so that our yields will improve. So we're beginning to train these smallholder women farmers. That's what basically the project is about. So we're in 8 states now. FCT happens to be one of the states that was picked for the project. So we train 80 women.
80 so far?
Yes, 80. So we're doing this in collaboration with the extension agents, extension officers in the rural areas. Because one of the issues we discovered is over time, when you talk to the extension agencies, say they do not have enough funding to be able to do their work, mobility is a problem and all that. So we're beginning to see how we can work together. So we give them stipends and we train those women. We train 80 of them. Those 80 women go down and step down those training to 50 women each. So if you calculate 80 times 50, you have 4,000. So we did that in the first phase. We trained 4,000 women. In the second phase, we trained 4,000 women. But we have a little bit over because there are people that are just happy about the training and want to be part of it. So that's what we've been doing as regards the training.
Something you mentioned, you train 80 and those 80 train 50. Is there a monitoring and evaluation process to ensure that this, there is continuity?
Yes. So like I told you, we pay stipends to extension agents to ensure that they are getting it right. So they are always with them every monthly. They're there with them in the 6 area councils of the FCT. So we have one extension agent each that they are always open. They call them when they have issues, when they are doing their step downs, when they need to know of anything they need to know basically about farming. Because they've been trained, they are always there to render those services.
Right. So what are the challenges that small-scale women farmers face in Nigeria so
Honestly,
far?
there are so many challenges, but I would like to focus more on land access and control.
What does that mean?
It's one of the major issues we're having. So we have the expertise, we want to do the farming, but we do not have access and we do not have control. So it's one thing to have access, is another thing to have access and control.
Access to what? Land.
Oh,
okay, land.
Land.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
That.
So you may have land, but it's not your land. You do not have control over it. So one of the cultural issues around where women cannot inherit lands is one of the issues we're having. We have issues where women go and lease lands, and in between the farming period, the owners of the land just come and say they want their land. So you have access to the land, you don't have control, or they tell you cannot farm this, you cannot farm that, and So they are just so restricted. They don't have access, they don't have control. So it's one of those things we've been clamoring for. So recently in this project, we had a campaign where we had the traditional leaders and the chairman of area councils just come together, and we just talked about this thing. I mean, our communities need food. We need to be food secured as a nation. But if we do not have the land, if we do not support these women to meet that desire or that increasing need for food, it will affect the whole nation in just a very short period from now. So land access and control is one of our major issues. We have issues of post-harvest losses, technology, markets. Is there
credits?
Yes.
The issue of credits too as well.
Yes, credits, but we normally do not like credits on a normal day. We prefer grants.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And other things like inputs from government, timely inputs, because some of these inputs come when the farming seasons are over. If it comes at that time, what exactly are we going to do with it, So those issues, we have post-harvest losses, we have people having, you harvest your goods, but because of no roads, feeder roads and all that, you don't have access to the market, and we have middlemen come and mop up those things from this way because they're not able to access the markets. So there are a lot of issues.
So how many women have been trained so far?
We've trained, like I said, 80 in the first phase that trained 50 each. We had 40, we've 80 in this phase that have trained 50. We have over 8,000, and we're looking forward to doing much more because it's a continuous thing.
Okay, but what then do you desire from the government?
Okay, we desire a lot from government, but one of the things we want is a lot of capacity building.
Okay.
As regards agroecology, we need to go back to the olden ways of farming. I mean, it has been improved. Government needs to we need government to come in and see how it is we can train these women, because these other ways of farming, there are a lot of chemicals in it that even affects our health that people do not even know about. It affects not just our health, it affects our land, land degradation, climate change is here. So many things are happening. We need government to come in to see what this agroecology is about and see how we can work together, synergize, and see how it is we can work with the smallholder women farmers and ensure that productivity is improved.
Okay, well, let me ask this, yeah? Do you think that the government is doing enough so far in assisting small-scale women farmers in Nigeria? Because recently we've seen where Remi Tinubu, of course, that's the president's wife, is going on a campaign where she's saying she's sharing, is it 15 million naira? But then, no, about how many millions of naira? But then 50,000 naira will be given to 1,000 women farmers in the different states of the federation. Is that also a step in the right direction?
Yeah,
is that affiliated with you too?
It's a step in the right direction. And government is trying, but there's still much more to be done.
Okay.
But one of the things government needs to do is to target the real farmers. So there are a lot of initiatives, but the political farmers hijack it.
Political farmers.
Yes,
I keep hearing about this political farmers.
Political farmers, in the sense that there are things that are earmarked for real farmers, but because they are in the system and they know how to go about this thing, they hijack everything and it doesn't get to the real farmers.
Right.
They hijack whatever it is that is due the smallholder women farmers and go and sell it to them. So government needs to prioritize and ensure that they target the real smallholder women farmers. If they want to see results, they have to target the real smallholder women farmers.
All right, time is not on our side, but I'd like you to just, even if it's one line or two, in all that you've mentioned about, I've not heard you talk about the insecurity. Does it not also pose a problem?
It does a lot.
Okay.
So we have women farmers going to their farms, they are raped, they are kidnapped and all of those things. So we need government to also come into that. We've done a lot of advocacies where we have ranger, I think we call them rangers, help us go. We go in clusters and all that, but there's still so much more to be done. It has improved, but there's still so much more to be done as regards security of the smallholder.
What's the name of that project again that y'all looking into? Because it seems as though it's a very huge project and it is like a baby to the SWOFON.
Yes, it's called SPARK, the SPARK project.
Okay.
Strategic Partnerships for Agroecology and Climate Justice in West Africa.
All right. And yes, we've been having a conversation with Mrs. Hajara Ramson, who is, of course, a very strong representative of the small-scale women farmers organization in Nigeria, SWOFON. Which is, of course, a non-governmental organization, and this is the much that we can take. But then, conclusively, SWOFON plays a critical role in empowering, small-scale women farmers in Nigeria. The organization's efforts to improve the productivity and income of women farmers, enhance their access to markets and credit facilities. Which, of course, they say they prefer the grants rather than the credits. All right. And as well as promotes their participation in decision-making processes, very, very commendable. Had to do a quick look, research on SWOFON. Great job. And y'all keep it up, though. Appreciate it. And thank you for your time in the studio, though. We appreciate your time here.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much.
All right. You want to go see what is going on in terms of this interview and conversation? Well, get on to social media platforms at Eagle